for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So it was last weekend, as more than 1,000 women all over Cameroon converged in Yaoundé under the canopy of the First National Women's Convention for Peace in the nation to seek for meaningful solution in ending the conflict in the northwest and in the southwest region of the country and other conflicts that have plagued Cameroon. The conflict of the northwest and the southwest region, which has been baptized as the Anglophone crisis, as the war of the Amazonian, as a war within the Anglophone region, regardless of which side of the aisle you stand, started as a peaceful protest in 2016 before metamorphosing into a full-blown armed conflict in late 2017-2018. This is not the first time that we are seeing women in Cameroon protesting and calling for an end in the conflict. They were last seen in Kmer last year when they were demanding for justice for the souls of those who were killed in Kmer by armed men. The students that were killed by armed men in Kmer, they protested and demanded that those responsible should be brought to book. This time around, the women have come again as one force to put their heads together to see how they can give a meaningful solution or propose meaningful solution to the belligerents and their partners to put an end to the war that has claimed thousands of lives, displaced thousands who are in Nigeria, and some are already still in the bushes and others are in other regions of the country. Lives and properties have been destroyed and a lot of suffering is being meted on the people in the northwest and the southwest region. As the women come together to see how they can propose meaningful solution, some have criticized the move. They have captioned it a second major national dialogue, which is doomed to fail. Under them, they say those who were to be as the women leader were not there, and that the women of the non-state armed groups too were not consulted so that they can also give their own version on how peace can return to the nation. But the question we should be asking ourselves as Cameroonians is, can they come together of the Women First National Convention, put an end to the existing conflict in the northwest and the southwest region, reunite the country in other areas that need unity, fight against tribalism and nepotism in the country? Or will this move be hijacked by politicians and warpreneurs, as has often been the case in Cameroon? This is House of Commons with me, Kamer Jarvis.
Since 1993, EUG is 3 schools. ESG, ISTA, ISA, 3 ultra-modern campuses with more than 40 specialties in BTS, HND, DCEP, professional bachelors and professional masters. More than 15,000 graduates and more than 115 million francs scholarships granted to students. Many national and international partnerships. And more is still to come. At EUG,
we train leaders since 1993.
Welcome back from that transition. If you are just joining us, you're watching House of Commons, and that was the editorial for today. Today in the studio, as we look at the topic, can the Women Convention help put an end to the existing conflict in the northwest and southwest region? Can they just end the Women National Convention, stop the killings in the northwest and in the southwest region? We have our guest with whom we are going to have a 1 hour 30-minute ride. To begin with, I introduce to you Senior Barrister Achu Emmanuel, who has been fighting so hard to ensure that justice, peace and stability return to Cameroon. He is also the chairman of his party, and he is there to ensure that the words are given the way it is, not the way people think it should be. He is a man of his word. Senior Barrister Achu Emmanuel, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, Tamai Jarvis. Good afternoon, Sir Mutanga. Good afternoon, Sadiki, if you don't want us to call the title. Good afternoon, televiewers. It's always a pleasure being with you.
Thank you, Senior Barrister Achu Emmanuel. How is the Reform Party doing?
Well, Reform Party is waxing strong. We're waiting for the first opportunity to show our friends that we know what they think.
Thank you very much, Senior Barrister Achu Emmanuel. And also in the studio we have Pa Sulaiman. As you heard last week, Saturday, it was busy in Kumba as we went to see how he was being installed as a Saliki. You're welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Greetings to my fellow panelists, greetings to our fellow listeners outside there. You know, we have converged ourselves at the studio of Media Prime, House of Commons, to digest and debate on certain issues affecting our country. So just stay put and listen as we continue.
Thank you very much. You have the Social Democratic Front. How's the party doing?
Well, we are trying now to restructure the basic organs of the party, because since the beginning of this crisis, the party has gone into doldrums, into silence, and also the NEC has appointed some committee members within the regional levels to go and see where to see that they revamp the basic organs and structures of the party, from the wards to the district, and maybe to the regions, to the divisions, up to the regions. So we are waiting for those guys who have been mandated by NEC to start their work. So all is set. We are waiting for them.
Thank you very much. And of course, just to note that you are coming from the southwest region, Kumba to be more precise.
Yeah.
We understand it's not been easy getting to Douala today.
Yeah, today we know when we're coming today. We saw the military at just after a corner where those guys used to check first mass. That's a bomb has been planted there. So the military were there they are succeeding in detonating the bomb, and they are trying to dig it out. So I think they were doing a wonderful job. They're outstanding and remarkable. We thank them for that. That's a good job. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Also here in the studio we have Sir Mutaga, who is of the Cameroon's Renaissance Movement, the CRM party. Sir Mutaga, evangelist to be more precise. Also, you're welcome to the program and happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday to you, Mr. Tama Jarvis, and happy Sunday to Senior Barrister Achu Emmanuel, that we are meeting after 3 years. And happy Sunday to my co-panelists of the SDF. Happy Sunday to all the millions of televiewers of my Media Prime TV, especially this special show, the House of the Common. Special greetings to the militants of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, and especially to the President-elect, Professor Maurice Kamto, who is watching this program right in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. Permit me use this opportunity to wish happy Sunday to the Women's Wings President, Maitre Awasu Mispa, that is in Douala. She was here yesterday to dialogue with the women and to inform them that she was convocated to appear before the military court of Yaoundé on the 5th of this month, part of the intimidation of the Bias regime. Remember, it's regrettable for a democracy that is only on papers, and whereas when we want it to be more practical, you see there are means and other like that will be used by the regime in place to pull back the process, and this is not good for the image of our nation.
Thank you very much. How is your party doing?
The CRM is working stronger, despite the fact that we have some of our top party officials in prison. I'm talking of Mr. Bibu Nisak, who doubles as the advisor and the spokesperson to the president-elect. We have Mr. Zambo Pascal, that's the national secretary in charge of implantation. And then we have the treasurer, the national treasurer of the CRM, Professor Alain Foguet, Tedom, and a host of others who are still in prison. Remember, last 22nd of September, they went into the street asking for a peaceful resolution to the crisis plaguing the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon, and for the consensual reforms of the electoral system. but the regime in place only had to pay them with imprisonment.
Okay.
You can imagine it. That is the country we say is a country where there is freedom of speech, there is political rights.
We'll be coming now.
So you can imagine it.
Of course, here we'll be having Barrister Achu Julius on this seat for the CPDM party. He is on his way and he will be joining us. As you can see, we already have a seat reserved for him, and we already have all the other members here present. So we kickstart today's program immediately. I start with you, Senior Barrister. Senior Barrister, when we look at the convention, the first women convention, first of all, as a party chairman of the Reform Party and as an Anglophone, and how do you look at these, the meeting itself, the first meeting? What came to your mind?
Well, I have to thank the organizers of the meeting, first of all, for thinking, for bringing forth the idea of bringing people together. It's always a nice thing when people come together to look at issues, or at burning issues. But the purpose for which they are coming together, to see to it that peace returns to the to southern Cameroons. That is where it triggers some mixed feelings in me, because we all know that the absence of peace is due to war, civil war, and these women, to the best of my knowledge, are victims. We've seen them cry loud and publicly. We've seen women of CRM go march naked in the streets of Yaoundé. I mean, they've gone to that extent. We've seen women in Bamenda take to the streets to protest. Kumba also, Boya. I mean, you are calling the victims to come and sit down. I don't know whether they intended that these women should cry together. Because if it is to stop the war can only be stopped by the warring factions. So, meaningfully, these people ought to engage the much needed dialogue that we have been crying for. Let them engage the dialogue, let the warring parties sit on the table and end this bloodshed. You carry women and put them together to wine and dine in the name of discussing peace. Well, in other countries we have seen how women have participated in bringing an end to crisis. Let me just propose to these women, because I like their coming together, but I am criticizing the purpose of which they came together. I'm saying that, dear women, if you want to come together to end this civil war, the better thing for you to do is to go to the people who are causing the trouble. We know that we have the military on one side, the government forces on one side, and the restoration forces on the other. Now, if you want to target the government, then you come forth with some argument that can make the people move on both sides, whether it's the restoration forces or the government. If you women decide, I am telling you that this thing will come to an end, and I will give you the proposal. Now, if you women were to decide to use your bottom power, starve these men, please sensitize and starve them. Just say 2 weeks. All the women in the country decide to starve their men. You understand what I mean? Sexually, don't serve them. See whether those who are in charge of deciding will stay put. Refuse to give them food. Let's see whether they will not solve this crisis. Instead of going to sit in the Congress hall to wine and dine, please take moves like that one. Refuse to keep them food. Refuse them in bed. Let us see how they will continue to sustain a crisis that has no head. I think that is what I will want to propose to the women. Don't go and eat and drink. Take measures. Don't march in the street. Stay in your houses, sensitize your friends. Refuse to serve these men. Let us see how they will continue sustaining the war.
Senior Barrister, is that not a violation of matrimonial duties?
Violation of which matrimonial duty? I am a lawyer. I am telling you that if the situation is unbearable, when women lose their husbands and lose their children, a woman who becomes a widow, does she have any matrimonial duty anymore? So this is a situation where those women who are still alive should stand up and put pressure on the men so that the crisis is brought to an end. Let the men sit on the table and discuss.
Mr. Sulaiman, you are of the Social Democratic Movement, SDF. We've seen these women, they've come together regardless of the different political parties. Do you think that they can pull the string of peace in the trouble-hit area? And do you tie with Senior Barrister that they should go to the right channel and not just coming together in Yaoundé?
Yeah, what I want to say here is this. Women, they are our mothers. They gave birth to all of us. And women have a lot of compassion and melancholy with them. They are very sorrowful. You see, a woman, even when a father is using excessive force on a child, the mother becomes so annoyed with the father. She's become so annoyed. So a woman is somebody that as I said, that a lot of compassion. A woman, no matter how big you are, no matter how rich you are, as far as she's your mother, she still look down on you as a child. And when you are sick, when you have problem, she come by your side if she's alive. She still look back at the trauma she had 9 months ago by taking you in her womb for 9 months, nurse you and bring you up. That's one for you. So women now are seeing that these people who are, this carnage that is going on, this killing that is going on, this barbaric act that is going on both sides of the eyes. They are losing, parents are losing their children. Women are losing their husbands. Women are becoming overnight widows with liabilities left to them. And nobody is there to account for it. On this, it's on this premise that the women decide to come together and say, enough is enough. Let's hold this convention and put our demand straight to the government. Let us tell the government our true position, where we belong. Let this carnage stop. Let this killing stop. It's a domestic affair. We can resolve it amicably through dialogue and discussion. Cameroonians cannot be killing Cameroonians, and we are folding our arms, not watching. We are killing ourselves. People's children are dying. People's husbands are dying, and nobody cares. Nobody is talking. See what the Boko Haram did the other day. Roasted army military officers. These are people's children. And these women, they have every raison d'etre to come together and say, enough is enough. Let this carnage stop. Let this killing stop. Let us go for dialogue, discussion, so that we may reach an amicable compromise. That's the way forward. That's the roadmap to resolve this matter. And again, the irony of it all is that all what they are discussing, all what they are discussing, the government is very stubborn. This government is a stubborn government. The government always believe that they have they will not they have their instruments of operation. They can to use to sign any situation. But I think this thing started in Boya some year ago. Women protested in Boya. I think it was last year or last 2 years. Because of this, it has come to Yaoundé. We don't know the next line where it's going. Government, look, you listen to these women. They are our mothers. They gave birth to us, and they will not fall down and see their children dying, their husband dying. That is why they have come together, mobilized more than 1,000 delegates, almost 1,000, to come and discuss silent issue affecting them directly. It pains them if they see children dying carelessly for no good reason. A food for a thought is sufficient. So what I'm saying is that the government should listen to the women. The women are there. The women are there too. They are there to make sure that the government listens to them. Okay. They have killed their children. They have killed their husband. They are dying on both sides of the aisle, and nobody cares. So definitely, Mr. Davis, I think the government must listen to the women.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Sulaiman. You said the government must listen to the women, and I want to ask you this before getting to Semutaga. The women protested in Kumba. I was in Kumba when these students were killed by armed men. They protested, but still now we still have active armed conflict in Kumba. Kumba still Kwakwanake, Bole, Ekumbe. Until now, even 5 government divisional delegates, we've not even heard about them. We've not even we don't even know what's happening. And you know, can this still work? You know,
it's a very sordid, shocking, and disappointing to see that up to today, more than a month, those 5 divisional delegates, their fate is still undecided. Nobody knows where they are. Nobody knows what the government is doing to rescue them. They are still in captivity. They are there suffering. Their families are there always. They are only at the mercy of God. They want divine intervention to come.
Okay.
They are to touch the heart of the kidnappers to let them go because they have lost faith in the government.
Okay.
As concerning the armed struggle, you see, from the beginning, even Thibault Nagi told the government that you cannot win this war through the use of force. Let's go for dialogue.
And even the non-state armed groups cannot win the war.
On both sides of the eyes.
Okay.
That's what he said.
Okay.
On both sides of the eyes, nobody's going to win the war. But we have to go for dialogue. Look, no matter how contentious an issue is, no matter how problematic an issue is, no matter how difficult it is only through dialogue and discussion that we may reach an amicable compromise or amicable solution.
Okay. We've just been joined by Senior Barrister Ashu Julius, of the Cameroon People Democratic Movement. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Jarvis. I will start by apologizing for my late coming. I'm happy to be here today, especially besides my learned Senior Barrister Ashu Emmanuel and Semutaga.
Thank you.
My friend I love very much, and my friend from Kumba. It's a pleasure being here today. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Sir. Let me continue with you. When we look at the coming together of the women, first of all, what came to your mind when you heard the news, and are you positive about it?
Very, very positive because, you know, when it comes to peace, it is priceless. And any initiative towards that direction should be encouraged all the time. And I was very happy that the women decided to take the bull by the horns to start by that, by doing such a thing. And it's not the first time women have been intervening for peace, for calling for peace, because they are the biggest losers in the warfare. Their brothers, their husbands are being killed, and they are victims of issues that most of them are not. They were not part of it. I think they are following the steps of the government, because let nobody fool you. The government has not engaged in a warfare. It is only peacekeeping by third-degree force. You see, if you don't understand military parlance, you don't understand what that means. If it is warfare, every day you'll be hearing boom. You hear the sound of gun. It's just because we don't in Cameroon now, it is our first experience to see such a thing. But to me, it's not a warfare. It is not yet there. And if it continues, it's going to come there. You should understand equally that when these things happen, yes, there's been a misunderstanding. Yes, people have been angry. Yes, people are losing lives. Yes, the economy is being touched. Yes, the society is scattered. What I think everybody or every right-taking person should do is, rather than going into the blame game as to who is doing what, who has done what, who was supposed to do what, we should say, look, okay, it is high time, let's look for means of sorting this thing out. I will tell you what the government has done. They call it a national dialogue. Everybody criticizes. Everybody moves over. Those who are against criticize. They organize, say, okay, wait, I want to talk with you guys, but drop your arms and I will not talk with you with guns. You carrying guns, you can't talk with me without guns. How? It's not possible. Drop your guns and let's talk. They don't want it. So we now know those who don't want peace. It is just not the government. The president, we now know that those guys who are carrying guns don't want peace, because you can't be fighting eternally for as long as you want. If you, at a certain point in time, we have to drop those things to look at the problems normally. So what the women are doing, we usually say what the woman does is they've been called up by God Almighty to intervene. To me, it's some sort of a divine intervention, and I pray that all our brothers and sisters who are hiding or who are carrying guns, who are angry, should think of peace as an essential part of our society. I will go for it. Let's back up these women for them to succeed.
Thank you very much, Senior Barrister Ashu. Let me come to you, Sir Mutaga, Special Advisor to Professor Maurice Kamto. The CRM, were they actively represented in this come together of the 1,000 women? And if yes, what propositions did they give? Because I invited the women, they said they were tired, they will come probably next week so that we can have a full resolution as of what went in and out, and for the public to be informed, since they closed very late so they could not come. But you are of the CRM, you said Mispa was here in Douala yesterday. Was she not part of the meeting?
I think that if the women's president of the women's wing of the CRM was here in Douala. You notice that she was not part of the rally in Yaoundé. Coming back to the sitting of the women, I want to allude to the Bible. You find that when you go to the book of Esther, when the king's chief staff, that's Aman, connived one time for the total annihilation of the Jews, she had to discuss with her cousin Mordecai on how to persuade the king on stopping that decree that was already signed for the total annihilation of the Jews. So you find that the women sitting yesterday for a conference on peace in Cameroon.
Started on July 31st.
Yes, like you said.
On July 29th.
July 29 is a clear indication that they have the opinion that the National Assembly has failed. And if I were to go further, I think it's a call for the President of the Republic to think on dissolving that National Assembly that has been unable to discuss the issue of the Anglophone crisis for over 5 years. And then another thing the women want to let us understand is that the President's special advisors and all the advisors of the President of the Republic have failed in their duty. Because if you look at what happened in the Bible, you find that the king was equally misinformed by his advisors and those of his government. That is why you see that Mordecai, that was divinely inspired by God, had to disguise the sister or the cousin to meet the king and then beg on the king to see on taking an alternative, maybe to cancel the decision. So it's another clear indication that they rejoined the CRM to think that the former national dialogue was a fiasco. It didn't work, and that today all Cameroonians at large should be thinking on how each and everyone should be talking of peace, like Basachu just said. We should be talking of peace. And you know, when they want to stop the war going on in the northwest and southwest region, or to stop a war in general, we don't more sit and begin to think of those who have died. We have to do everything possible to prevent people from dying. So today, what I will say is that let not this women's movement just be maybe a way to seek popularity. If it's a way to seek popularity, because we know maybe Mr. Abia will soon be calling for initiating a cabinet reshufflement, and some of these women think that maybe by figuring in the national conference, it will be a way for them to be noticed and then picked up to still join the ruling CPDM in place. Like we of the CRM hold it, we think that if we have to end the war going on in the northwest and southwest region, there are real actors that need to be called at the table of dialogue. They call them to the table of dialogue. We have Ayuk Seseko that is still in prison. I said it one time on this platform that only the one that calls a feast know how long the feast would stay, or how the duration of the feast, because he's the one that sponsors the feast. He's the one that spends his money. It is not the master of ceremony that determines the duration of the feast. All those, they are going around consulting them, who are just normal citizens who don't even care about what happens in this nation. Because if you look at those who pick arms, those of the northwest and southwest region, they were the people that felt the pinch, or maybe let me say the pain of what is called marginalization in the northwest region. And they said they could not just sit like that, and they had to go into the street in October. That's what October 2016. Then there were no arms. Some of them had to protest, asking the government to take meaningful stride. Maybe the President of the Republic signing decrees, let me not even sign decrees, it should be, if there is any decision that was to be taken, it should be debated in the National Assembly on the fate of the Northwest and Southwest region, and then part of it.
Let me do a quick follow-up.
Yes.
Let me cue in. Senior Barrister Ashu said the government of Cameroon has done a lot in resolving this conflict. Barrister Ashu said first that the call for the Grand National Dialogue And also I'm sure that he also talked about the issue that you know, the government has been putting in some strategies to resolve this conflict, that the government is not using the third-degree forces, that the government is not, the government is using the third-degree forces to maintain peace and stability. But you are talking about the fact that the president advisors have failed, the major national dialogue has failed, the National Assembly has failed. In all this, are you stating that the women are just coming in as a small screen or what? Because we have seen the, you know, we've seen the regional assemblies as fallout. We've seen the Bargazing Commission as fallout of the Bamenda Interministerial Committee, and you know, we've seen.
Mr. We know that women are very influential. We cannot undermine their strength, their force, because it's said what a woman wants, God equally wants it. That's what they say in French. Ce que la femme veut, Dieu le veut. Those fighting the war in the northwest and southwest region, they didn't fall from heaven. They have mothers, and I think those women are their mothers. Those fighting the wars, they are not people who don't have wives. They have those women who are their wives. Like I said, if this initiative is only based on the fact that these women want to seek a certain kind of popularity, you know what it's in our nation. Most often people want to be known because they want to begin to see how they might be appointed to a post of responsibility in the regime in place. If it is a meaningful way to bring peace in the northwest and southwest region, I think they would have to continue. We know that the regime in place, they are not afraid of our men sitting and talking. It's when the sitting and talking does not go, there are other ways they can go in, like into the street protesting. They march. The regime is afraid of peaceful marches. Okay. Even though they will tell you that, you look, for example, they just said a week ago that they had to ban the CRM march that was supposed to take, a peaceful protest that was supposed to take place in Yaoundé on the 25th of July because of COVID-19. But we saw what happened in Edea yesterday. We saw what happened in the West region.
Thank you. Senior Barrister, I want to come to you, Senior Barrister Ashu Emmanuel. When we look at the fact that Barrister Ashu said we are still at the level of third-degree forces maintaining peace and order, and we've seen other initiatives like this hijacked by politicians and warpreneurs who infiltrate these women and use them for their political motive. Do you see a possible hijack, or you see that these women will now go through, they've learned their lesson and they are going through?
A rose in any other name will still smell as sweet. You rebaptize a civil war and call it security operation by use of third-degree forces. It doesn't change anything. It is still a civil war. It's a war, full-blown war.
Maybe the operation
full-blown war. You heard what he said.
Yeah, when he just
came.
That bomb
this morning, it was bomb. Bomb. Aha. You cannot be digging out bombs and you talk of third-degree force. Bombs. God help us, because that one did not explode. Would have, I don't know how many dead we would have been counting. You see, so the situation is bad. Even on the side of the government, they are still thinking of security operation. What we are seeing, they are calling security operation.
Now that maintain peace and order. That's what he said.
Please, sir, they should try and halt it there, because we don't want the carnage to go further. What we have seen already is too bad. You have seen that these women are acting in total desperation. Less than a month ago, they wrote to IMF. We saw women write to IMF 2 letters. Unfortunately for them, their letters could not go to anywhere, because you cannot stop a doctor from attending to his patient. Because IMF, you cannot stop an investor from supervising his investment. IMF is pumping money to Cameroon. You cannot tell them to stop giving money or from recovering their money. You see, you can see that the women are really desperate. They will stop at nothing. But the problem here is this meeting that they are holding. What impact can it have? They are trying to put on the table things that can touch the hearts of the people who are concerned. Will that meeting have that effect of touching the heart of the government? Because the person who pulls who has the yam and the knife here is the government. If the government says this thing should end, it will end.
But as you said, the government has put in a lot of mechanisms to resolve
the conflict. If the government says this thing should end, it will end. what we are asking here is that there should be negotiation. If the government wants negotiation, it will not take 2 days. When they decide on the national dialogue, did somebody ask them? They decided on their own and people came together. So if they want to have a real dialogue now for this thing to end, they will organize it and it will end. So I'm happy my little colleague is here and he has the access to tell them, please, we have suffered enough. Organize a real dialogue, let this thing come to an end. Because like Mutanga was saying, nobody can win. Let the secessionists not think that because they're having some bright day that can lead to them winning the war. No, the government has the means of buying more sophisticated weapons and the fighting will continue for ages. So please, the solution is to sit on the table. Why prolong it? Why delay it when we can have it now and attain the peace?
Barrister Ashu said the government has called them to drop their arms for dialogue and
thank you, sir.
National dialogue.
Thank you, sir. Let me remind you that the U.S., United States, and the UN have asked that there should be dialogue without precondition. What you are talking about is a dialogue with condition. This time, the international community is calling for dialogue without precondition, and that is what I am supporting. Dialogue without precondition, because if you continue putting preconditions on the table, the end product will be that we shall remain inside the blame game. He has refused to drop his gun. How do you think you are having your own gun? Your opponent is having his own gun. You ask him to drop his own. Have you dropped yours? Have you dropped yours?
We're looking at the legality.
No, leave that thing. Leave that thing. In the bush, is there legality? When those soldiers who are dying in the bush, is there legality there? No. We should stop the blame game, sir. Call for a dialogue without precondition. Let this thing come to an end. That's what we are crying for.
So now the women's meeting, I don't know if other political parties were consulted to send their women for the meeting, or was her party consulted?
We were never consulted.
We were expecting that
we were never consulted.
All the different political parties will be consulted to send their.
I don't know whether CRM was consulted. I was never consulted. I saw it on television like everybody.
Barrister, let me just keep it something.
No,
okay.
No, we come to yes.
Okay.
Let's just get to
I said with Barrister Achu that peace is priceless. For without peace, you cannot go to school, you cannot go to the market, you cannot go to the hospital, you can't do anything. But again, I disagree with him in total when he said the government has done all its possible best to bring peace and it has failed. The government called for grand national dialogue.
First, the government started with the Interministerial Committee in Bamenda, created the Bilingualism Commission, redeployment of teachers.
Let me learn. The government, he talked about grand national dialogue.
Yes.
This grand national dialogue was called. I was in this studio that we praised.
Yaoundé.
No, yeah. Okay. We praised the government for calling that grand national dialogue because we thought that at least a positive step has been taken in the right direction. We shall not try to. We shall start now resolving some of the contentious issues. Delegates from the Northwest and Southwest came to that day with one agenda. They want a federal structure. That one was dumped into the dustbin of history. Mr. Biya continued with his policy of decentralization, appointing his regional delegates and what have you. That one, he did not even talk about that federalism, that thing they call federalism. He now created bilingualism and multiculturalism commission. The aims and objective of that commission is not known to the public. Only insiders of that commission, only insider of the commission or the president know the aims. These are things that
they have been sensitizing people.
Excuse me. These are things that they will have some memoranda to the public, seek an opinion from people to see how people will respond. It was not done. It was not done. Then there was disarmament and integration commission. That one too, the aims and objective is not known. They will have sent memorandum to the public for people to know, contribute their own quota for the success of the bilingualism and integration commission. This was not done. Let me tell you something. Anything, all what government is putting is cosmetic. It's window dressing. There is no tangible reason for somebody to believe whatever the government is doing for the overall interest of peace in the Northwest and Southwest or Cameroon in general. We have a lot of content. We have enormous problem facing this country. It's not only the Southwest, Northwest and Southwest crisis. The Boko Harams are there. The Balakas are there in the Central Africa, affecting our brother. And the political problem, people are even undermining that this political problem is a very fundamental issue that has to be tackled in this country. Okay. So let me tell you, when women came out now to say they want peace, enough is enough. Our children are dying and they have been dying, but we are losing our husband. We want peace. Let government, first of all, my party was not represented. The SDF was not represented in that commission. They were not there. I don't know which party was represented.
So Reform Party too says they were not. CRM too says they were not.
The SDF was not represented. So I begin to, the raison d'etre for organizing that convention is under question mark. Who sponsored it? Who gave them alimony for the convention?
Cameroonians of goodwill, huh?
It's our opinion. You know what I'm saying? So you see the whole thing. When we appreciate the good intention of the women, to see that peace reigns in Cameroon, so that things should move very well. Okay. At the same time, there's a question mark somewhere.
Frederick Elbeck Foundation.
Yes, who were the organizers?
Okay, let me read some message to come to BrigadeAntiSardinard before coming to you, so that we save some time. Greetings to you in the studio, especially Mr. Mutaga, Barrister Achu Julius, and Barrister Achu Emmanuel and co. The women initiative may be good, but those who are charged of implementing whatever they submitted are on holiday. I'm afraid nothing will come out of this major national dialogue. Diwum Emmanuel. It's good day. Davison from Muyuka. The no-state fighters are not fighting the government, but they are defending themselves. This other one read, it says, hello Jarvis and the panelists, why is Barrister Achu Julius not calling the guys carrying guns terrorists or thieves?
I will do that.
To me, it was good for the women to meet and share state funds. To me, it was good for the women to meet and share state funds that was supposed to be stolen by individuals. I plead women to keep rallying themselves and share the state funds. For the women to stop this war, it is far-fetched. Happy Sunday to the crew on board. Is coming from Fondo in Bafut. Senior Barrister Achu, let me come to you now. He raised a pertinent issue that the coming together of these women is a litmus test or indicator that the government has failed in resolving this conflict, that it is an indicator that the National Assembly has failed, it is an indication that the president advisors have failed, and an indication that the Grand National Dialogue was a fiasco. That's why if the women can come together, it means that all of these solutions that have been done had failed. Do you agree with him on that?
No, I cannot agree with such baseless revendication.
Why are the women coming together?
Let me tell you something. They are partners of Ambazonia and the guys who took up arms. As they are partners, why would they want peace? They want you to continue. They are saying the National Assembly has failed. There were elections in 2018. They refused to go.
2020.
Or 2020, whatever. They refused to participate. And these are elections that will affect the running of the assembly and the local councils. They refuse to participate, and now they want to sit outside in their small corners and be criticizing what's inside. You see, I don't like hypocrisy. This is pure hypocrisy, and to me, they are not in a position to criticize what happens in the assembly, because they are not there and they refuse to participate in those elections. But in any case, when I say the government has done a lot, is because what we of the English expression have as a problem is the issue of leadership. Everybody is a leader, and as everybody is a leader, there's no way one leader or will take a decision and is supported by another. Look for the peace initiative in Switzerland. How many leaders were going there? 9, and everybody asked for money before coming. Are those 9 going to represent us of the English expression? I say no. Okay, now you want people to sit down and talk. The partner incited the name here that he should be called up to come and talk. He's going to talk on whose behalf? Who voted him? Who made him leader or whatever? In any case, we should go back into history and re-examine ourselves and our priorities. Yes, I agree that we as we of the English expression were marginalized, but I will never agree with the fact that taking up arms is a solution. It is the worst of solutions to ever try. Look at it this way. People just sit down and limit our history to 1961. But meanwhile, this country as it is was created since 1884. In 1919, something happened that separated the country. We came down rights from League of Nations, United Nations. We became a trustee under Britain and France. Britain ruled us with a special status attached to Nigeria. We had a special status. We were neither a country, but some entity with a special status. We fought, we struggled hard, and through a plebiscite, we decided to join our brothers, gain the independence and join our brothers east of the Mongo. We now tried, after some time, we tried federalism, which was vomited in 1972. Okay, as it was vomited, nobody to date, I can call all the presidents of all the political parties or whoever, all legal minds. Nobody has challenged that referendum in any constituted authority to date. So whether I like it or not, it was federalism was vomited in 1972. SDF has tried to bring it back during elections, and which was a big issue, and they failed. Hopefully, all we are seeing it. Okay, what has government done? You will love Britain so much and their system of governance. What do? I give you back the special status, and you will go and manage yourself. So many guys who call themselves Anglophone leaders say, no, this is nothing. But meanwhile, it's something we lived in for a long time in Nigeria. They say, oh, this is an empty shell, there's nothing there, we can't get anything good out of it. Finally, at the end of the day, what do you guys want? You refused federalism since 1972 because SDF, that was their main thing on the table. It had never worked. They've now won on the basis of that. You refused the military system by vomiting out in 1972. They bring us back to the system where we had before 1961. We are still saying it is nothing. Let me tell you. Look, a government is a government. A government doesn't look at the small picture. The government acts at the macro level, the bigger picture of it all. You people can be complaining, but they go for the greater good of the majority of Cameroonians. Okay. They will always go for that. And the majority of Cameroonians, as of date, they like the special status. All those who are challenging it are little minorities, and those who think that they are more president than president. Don't forget that the major national dialogue was organized by people from the Anglophone zone. How can the Anglophone zone, who claim to be a leader, is the prime minister of the country, organizing something and you say it is bullshit? At the end of the day, everybody wants to be a leader. We don't respect constitutional authority.
I want us to stay on the queue. And you talked about the special status. If we have somebody like Chief Ateme Baku who is part of those implementing it, challenging the status quo of the House of Chiefs, the special status as it was in Boya. I think that was during one of their first sitting. We have one of the regional councillors in Ngokitunja also challenged the regional assembly and said it was more of a political arm that was put in, that they thought they were going in for something that was realistic, but to him it's different, that they are imposing agenda and the president is afraid to talk. So when we look at all this, is it not still an indication for those who are stating that it is empty to keep saying it is empty? Or should the actors who are on the field take up their position and act as they are supposed to act?
Those guys, the guys you don't cited, have they resigned? If something is empty, the first thing you do is you resign. You pull out of it. Why are you not pulling out? Let me tell you something. It's easy to run your mouth when you don't know the substance on the table. I always say it. The special status depends on the personality of those who are there. If they are weak, it will be weak. If they are strong, it will be strong. And you should know that the way Cameroon is, you need to be strong enough to convince another Anglophone to say you are a leader. Okay. Because as of date, we have that problem of leadership. A prime minister organizes something. Guys don't see the catch and come up and say it's bullshit. On what basis are they saying it? This guy is a learned guy. This guy has been in government for a long time. He has a world of experience. He knows what is going on the ground and what is going on upstairs and diplomacy. But somebody who has never even had an iota, 1/10 of this guy's experience, will come and say, look, what is done is nonsense. On no basis, just because he's not there. You see, many are called, but few are chosen. It's in the Bible, as my brother likes to cite. Many are called, but few are chosen. We should learn to organize, we should learn to respect the few who are chosen. My brother, I think you're the responsible officer in your party. They respect you. No matter your opinion, no matter what you say has to be accepted till further notice. Okay. And that's how we have to start looking at Cameroon before we can have peace. If everybody is constitutional authority on its own, means we have 25 million leaders. Just imagine.
Sir Mutaga, will you agree with Senior Barrister Ashu? And also, will you agree that the Women's Convention may be hijacked at the end of the day by politicians and entrepreneurs, as we saw in Kumba? Because I was in Kumba when the women came together at one point in time, politicians infiltrated, started giving them money, took them in one corner, and everything died down.
Exactly.
Jarvis, I didn't expect Basashu Julius to embrace me on this platform or to kiss me. I expected him to use very derogatory adjectives to describe the CRM, because that is the only thing they know within the CPDM, to diabolize their opponents in order to expose them to mob justice. And that is not democracy. So I want to tell Barrister Ashu Julius, he said it emphatically that within the Anglo-Saxon culture, everybody is a leader. And he asked questions here that Ayuk Tabe and those who are in prison, who made them leaders, you find that he contradicted his statement that within the Anglo-Saxon culture, everybody is a leader. First of all, where was Ayuk Tabe arrested? Was he arrested in the war front with a gun, with a machine gun, with a machete? Did he cut somebody's head? Simply because the government in place recognized him as the leader of the Ambazonian movement. That's why they sent people to Nigeria to arrest him there. It is bad faith to think that Ayuk is nobody. Those who are with him in prison, they are nobodies. So, honestly speaking, if the government, if the Bia's regime will want to solve the Anglophone crisis, I think it's high time somebody told them that the truth is the only thing that sets free. He said of Cameroon existing in 1984, Cameroon from 1984 to 1961 had never been the problem. It's Cameroon after 1961 to date that is the problem. 1961 there was a federal constitution, which I am not a lawyer, but the two of them who are on this platform know that there is an article which said the federal constitution was not to be tampered with. But the Ayuju's regime then, continue with Bia, they had to tamper with the federal constitution. Today Anglophones think that there should be more explanation to be made on why the federal constitution was tampered with. Does it warrant them being arrested, sent, imprisoned? Does it warrant the military option in the northwest and southwest region? He said here that it's not war going on in the northwest region, and it's third degree.
The third degree forces are used.
Third degree forces are used. I will really ask this question. He wanted to use full strength against who in the war? First of all, are they fighting? Are they fighting? Are they fighting in Ethiopia? They didn't succeed in Ethiopia. They didn't succeed.
They pulled out.
Is that what you want for Cameroon?
I'm asking you.
No, I'm asking you. Is that what you want?
War. You say war.
When there is already exchange of gunshots and other like, it is war.
When thieves.
When war planes, you call those guys.
Your partners.
Barrister Ashu, Barrister Ashu Julius, let me say something. Those people you call partners of the CRM, they have never been partners. Let me tell you, those who are partners to the war going on, they are the CPDR and the regime in place. Who have money for commissions, who have money voted in the National Assembly, given them every time to buy weapons and all the like. They are out on missions and all the like. They have a commission, a national commission for bilingualism and all the like. So all that money that is flowing in, you find that they use it.
Back on focus.
Let's come back on focus. Like you said,
I was asking, can it be hijacked?
Yes, I wanted to answer him. Can it be hijacked? Hijacked by who? That's the first question. Who are the politicians who hijack things in this nation? Those who hijack things in this nation are the CPDM regime. When the CRM talked of the disarmament commission to be put in place, they had to photocopy it and put the wrong one in place. That's why you see boys at the disarmament center in the southwest region constantly running out into the streets and causing chaos because the things which were promised to them are not being fulfilled. I want to tell that this conference that is held by the women, it doesn't tie with the CRM rules and regulations, because the CRM has as rules. Before you have to maybe adhere to any organization that is political, it has to do with the party's endorsement. The party must endorse it. So they didn't table a formal application for us to send our women there. That's why you didn't see our women there.
May it tie with the vision of every Cameroonian?
If it ties with the vision of every Cameroonian, we are talking here of things which need to be legally done. Don't forget, if you join those women and tomorrow it turns out to be anything else, they CP them with the very first person to say, no, the CRM are supporting terrorists. I'm not like, you know why he's saying CRM is terrorist organization with the Ambazonian? Because his president dumped the militants of the CRM in prison. You wanted them to be in prison without dialoguing with Ayuk Tabe and all the like? Were they placed in separate? Let me ask a question. Were they placed in separate prisons? They have to buy arms.
Yes, I give to
Okay. I thought we are here for a very mature debate.
No, it's okay.
If you want, let me tell you something. If you want,
I see it's okay.
do you have evidence? Do you have evidence?
Let's go.
Do you have evidence?
Let's take on this.
Do you have evidence of what you are saying? Just that you have evidence against the Catholic Church, that the Catholic Church was the one conniving with the Amma boys.
Again, we are back again, and of course, we are looking at the Just Ended Women Convention. I sent an official note inviting some of them, so they said it ended late yesterday night, so they could not travel to Douala. Next week, Sunday, we'll have them to look at what we discussed in it. But here we are looking at, as observers, we are looking at the picture, if it could help, because they were there fighting or talking about how to put an end to the war that will benefit us. I come back to you, Senior Barrister Ashu. Do you tie with what your learned colleague articulated a while ago, stating that no legal mind in Cameroon and out of Cameroon has challenged the constitutionality of the 1972 referendum in any competent authority?
Thank you, Jarvis. Well, that was his statement.
That he stands to be corrected.
That was his statement, and let me just see whether I can correct him. He first of all started by tracing special status back to the
Eastern Regional,
back to Southern Cameroon, and to Southern Cameroon staying in Nigeria. Let me remind him. Maybe he had forgotten. In 1959. After the two Lancaster talks that were held, Britain upgraded Southern Cameroon to an independent region within the Federation of Nigeria, changed the name from British Southern Cameroon to Southern Cameroon, and in 1960 endowed Southern Cameroon with a constitution that was styled Orders in Council Southern Cameroon Constitution. I have a copy of it. If you like, come, I'll give you. So Southern Cameroon in 1960 had the status of a state. Let me remind him further that inside Resolution 1608, Article 5, Southern Cameroon, it is referred as the government of Southern Cameroon. You don't mean, a territory with a special status does not have a government. Yeah. That resolution talks of the government of Southern Cameroon should sit together with the administrative authority and the Republic of Cameroon. So that special status should be limited to what just happened in the major national dialogue. Don't carry it behind, because behind Southern Cameroon was a state. It was not a territory with special status.
Let's go back, President.
Sir. Let us go back to 1608 Article 2 that recognized the independence of Southern Cameroon. So I think that we should put history straight. Now, I heard him say nobody has ever
challenge the
constitutionality.
There again, any legal authority.
Excuse me, sir. There again, let me remind him that what he calls federal constitution was the unilateral act of the Parliament of the Republic of Cameroon.
I didn't say federal.
The unilateral act of the Parliament of the Republic of Cameroon. The constitution of. That constitution.
You're talking about the 1972 referendum.
Excuse me, sir. Let us go back.
I never said it about federal constitution.
No, let us go back, because before you come to 1972, in 1961, you cannot ask Southern Cameroon to be bound by the act of another country. I talked of independence in 1960 one, and you didn't challenge that. Now, they were asked to sit together and battle out the terms on how they were going to live together. Instead of that, while they were in the hall, President Ahmad sent his draft constitution to his own parliament. And it was enacted as the 1st September 1961 constitution, which was in fact a constitutional amendment of the Republic of Cameroon's constitution 1961. So, which is the act of government that Southern Cameroon post that can be applicable to him? You see, we have been sitting quiet since 1961. We have never signed any constitution that cancelled the others in council Southern Cameroon constitution. Never. And even in all these things that are being done here, that constitution has never been mentioned. So how, as a legal mind, can you justify the fact that two countries come together, each one having a constitution, each one having a parliament? Because the document that was prescribed in Article 16 in the Resolution 1608, Article 5, is supposed to be a treaty. And we all know, because today Article 45 of the Federal Constitution, 1996 Constitution, says that any international agreement or treaty must be ratified. Yeah. That is the same thing that ought to have happened in 1961. So we should all recognize that things went wrong.
Okay, let's assume
Things
that
went wrong in 1961.
Let's assume that
Southern Cameroon never participated in that federal constitution.
Okay. Now the assumption, let's assume things went wrong.
So let us sit at the table and renegotiate the terms of living
to the
together.
1972. No, not to the 1972.
We are all Cameroonians.
No, 25 million.
We are all Cameroonians. Let us sit on the table and renegotiate.
25 million Cameroonians.
Senior
We
barrister.
are all Cameroonians.
Senior barrister.
If they call
Senior
political
barrister,
parties
you-
at the table,
yes,
you
Mr.
can sit.
Mr.
Let's not go there.
Senior barrister. Now coming back to the issue he raised, 1972 challenge legality. It has not been done.
Let me remind
you.
Excuse me. Let me come to it because I was taken away by other analysis. A referendum is supposed to go back to the parliament for ratification.
Okay.
Was it? Answer. Let me hear.
Of course.
Do you have it?
And
never went to any parliament.
Anglophone became the president of the National Assembly. What are you talking about? That's when STV became the president of the National Assembly.
No.
What are you talking about?
The main fact that he became the president of the National Assembly didn't mean it was ratified.
It was not ratified by the parliament.
It was
never ratified. Where is the law that the law was ratification?
You are saying the one have you shown here? But that's my own law. What have you shown here?
Muna was compensated by Hijo because of his loyalty and allegiance to Hijo. Hijo made him the
Let him land, Barrister Ashu will have his time to reply. Let him land. I am senior Barrister Ashu. Let him land. Let Barrister Ashu land. Let him land. I will give time. Barrister Ashu, you have time to reply. No, you
stop law.
Mr. Jarvis.
Yes.
You are talking about a referendum where people were asked to choose between yes. Excuse me now. The choice at the referendum was between yes
or no.
and we. No, yes and we.
No, come on. You make Anglophone stupid. What are you talking about?
The choice was yes and we.
You see?
But they were.
No.
No.
It was yes and we.
Excuse me.
I still have the ballot.
Excuse me,
If you want, we can go back bring them. Yes and we.
You will have time to react.
Anglophone were so stupid that
It was written in French. It was written in French.
That is the choice. Yes and we.
No, let him land. Let him land. I'll do a follow-up. Let him land.
Do we need any constitutionality to prove that there was no choice? If you are asked to choose between yes and no, did you have a choice?
I'll do a follow-up.
There was no choice, sir, and that is why I'm saying that.
It was illegal. Attack it.
Okay, now again, senior barrister.
We don't even need to attack it because
now
from 1961.
Senior barrister Ashu, I want us again to look at that we and yes. I spoke with some historian and they said there was a no and non ballot, but that it was not circulated to most of the areas that needed. That we should not say there was not a we. There was not a no and non. That the yes and we ballot was there. And there was a no and non ballot too that was there. That was on the black paper, and the yes and we ballot had its own paper. Now that in most of the polling station, it was the we and yes ballot that was there. But that, however, some station had the no and non, and we and yes. But majority of the other areas, especially in the northwest and southwest, had just the we and yes. So to clarify that there was a we and yes and a non and no ballot presented. Let's clarify that for historians and those who are watching us. Now his question challenging the legality.
I have seen the yes and we. I've never seen the no.
I've seen the non and yes.
I've never seen. There was normally, if you want to put a choice, you will not ask somebody to choose between yes and yes. You ask him to choose between yes and no. So if you say no, sir, if you say there was yes and no, therefore you are confirming that there was no referendum. You are confirming, because if the choice was no and no, because no and no, and then yes and we is the same thing. There was no choice.
Okay.
So there was no referendum.
We're coming back to you. I don't know who okay, it's you that has to take the yes, but Ashu, I'm coming back again to these terms of hijacking. I know we have moved. Oh, Mr. Suleiman, Pastor Suleiman, let me come to you. You know the heated debate here. Sometimes you switch.
No, you see.
So, there was do you agree? Do you agree with the fact that? The women meeting conventions, which is coming in, it's coming at the time when, you know, the resolution will be presented to people who are on holidays, as a viewer said that unfortunately the person who's supposed to receive this file is on holiday and implementation. If IMF, we have other bodies that have sat and presented, you know, way forward, it has not been applied, can these women not pull the string? Or what other means do they have to pull the string?
The government is a stubborn government. The government does not listen to people. The government has its synchronized and programmed way. The government has its own synchronized and programmed way of doing its things. It doesn't listen to people. Anything that is not within the confines of what they have decided, they throw it out. That's the government you have. So we appreciate the women, we applaud the women for what they have done, but to me, it's a non-starter. The government will do nothing if it's not within the confines of what the program of government. They will just dump it and throw it out, and it will not work.
He said SDF failed in bringing referendum.
No,
he said woefully.
The SDF
federalism.
No.
The SDF failed woefully in bringing federalism.
You see this government, the SDF, and people have accepted the federalism that SDF has proposed, especially in the Anglophone region. In the Francophone region are not used to federalism because the feeder is Anglo-Saxon. They are not used to it. They don't even know about it. It's not that they know what they call federalism. So the SDF has championed the cause of federalism up to the national dialogue where our national chairman, Nijo Fundi, stood, and when he was reading, when he was talking, they were booing at him. I was at the conference.
Yeah,
they were booing
at him. Together.
They were booing at him. They said, no, asseyez-vous. But he was called upon as again the same two in Kandatumi, where he was talking to, they were hushing him down. So you see, I don't know what the Francophones want.
No. It's not the Francophones. What Cameroonians?
I don't know what the Cameroonians, but actually know what Cameroonians want. Because I don't know, you call for a grand national dialogue, people have come to express their views, it becomes a
What way now do you suggest, what is the advice you give?
No, the women
who for way forward, what advice are you giving?
The way forward is that the women have done their best, they have presented, we don't know what they have presented, we don't know the resolutions, until when they come next week and talk, we shall hear what the resolutions, but I think it's a positive step in the right direction that I have taken. It's a sign of good faith. We appreciate them, we thank them, but we are waiting for the resolution to see whether what they have proposed, whether government will list or government will list.
Now, during the time of Senior Barrister Ashu was talking, and when Barrister Ashu interjected, you said the Foncha, you said Estimuna was as the parliament, well, that in terms of the ratification of the 1972 referendum, that it was not ratified. The fact that Estimuna was the speaker doesn't mean that it was ratified.
It was not ratified. Ayijo just compensated him. Let me tell you something. Ayijo compensated. Let me tell you something. See, let me.
That was supposed to go back to the parliament.
No, let me come now. As Ayijo compensated, you see, even the Fumban conference was a gymnastics. Because even some of the Anglophone who were supposed to the Fumban conference, they did not even have the leaflet of the conference until an hour before the conference. because they know people like PM Kale, people like Endele, people like Wotumbi Woleta, people like NMBile. They were the radical wings of the Anglophone at the Fuman conference. And Foncha had a negative impression about them. So he did not even present the real document of the conference to them. Only hours before the conference, he gave them something very voluminous. You see, so there was the
prime minister.
That bad faith was there.
Okay.
That bad faith was there. That bad faith was there. And Muna, all he wanted was he wanted power.
Okay.
Muna, all the gymnastics he played, he wanted power, and I just compensated him by appointing the speaker. He only wanted power.
Thank you.
That's the same thing.
Senior Barrister Achu, he said, I asked him a question, Semutaga, a question about possible hijack of these women national conventions and conventions. So he said that the thing here is, if it's to be hijacked, it will be hijacked by your members of your party who are already there in government. Because we have seen possible hijacking of women initiative. We saw that in Boya when the women convention at Bongo Square, it was hijacked. We saw when the women came to Kumba when they protested the killing. At one point in time, we saw money, exchange hands. But he's accusing that it is not the opposition, that is your party that could hijack this same initiative.
Cowards die many times before their deaths. What CPDM does is, when something is good, we encourage it. And once we encourage it, instead of giving it the context, they say hijack. Okay, that is his terminology. But I will always say, when in the CPDM, the dog can only bark when a truck is passing by. Nothing else. Keep barking. That is their role, maybe as opposition party. But it will not stop us from focusing in the right direction. The CPDM is supporting peace initiatives. And this is one of the peace initiatives that we tie with them. I would like the way it's being organized, because it's a broad-based spectrum of women coming together to look at ways of solving this issue. They will make I'm sure they'll prepare the resolutions and send to the people, the powers that matter, and from there you will see you see what will happen now. We filter into the society. Let's not forget.
If you say the power that matters, they are on holiday, so how will the resolution?
Because the fun is that once it pleases some people, the government is all of us. Once it displeases some people, the government is another group of persons, not us again. You see, that's the problem we have with democracy, understand democracy in Cameroon. We don't seem to understand that the government is all of us. So if you blame the government, start by knocking your own head, because you're part of it. But we need to be constructive. Like I read on WhatsApp, I heard a Christian time in Parliament when there's an honorable parliamentarian that posed a question to the audience about the Anglophone problem and the Northwest and Southwest crisis. I admire the style, which was, to me, was very constructive. I think it's an SFA parliamentarian. I don't know his name, unfortunately.
But you even know his name?
I don't know his name. But I enjoyed the way he did his presentation. And that's what we are wanting. We've been clamoring on Cameroons to do. Do same. Nobody is perfect.
Okay,
make errors.
Just a minute. Let's take a break. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. You're welcome back from that transition, Barrister Achu. You were saying something about, that your party cannot hijack. It's not there. It's been poorly explained that your party supports initiative like that.
Yes, and there've been so many already supported by the government. But but what I want people to understand is that the government is you and me. Don't make as if the government is made up of some strangers that you and me don't know.
Okay.
When once we've decided that at a certain point in time, some people should decide issues for you and me, we should learn to respect them. We like positive issues and not negative issues. What is anti-people, we don't go for it. We go for thing which is pro-people. And CPDM is a pro-people party. Well, that's why at the end of the day, we always have a majority. You can say what you like to say, but at the end of the day, we'll have the majority of the population behind us. There's a small issue that I would like us to clarify. My learned senior said, when there's a referendum, it needs to ratify.
Yes, I was about to ask you that.
That is not true. When once the people have decided, because the people are sovereign and paramount.
But does it not go to?
It doesn't go to anywhere. When have you heard that before? When the plebiscite was done in 1961, they went to which parliament?
The plebiscite in UK, I'm sure he went to the House of Lords.
No. Come on, I'm talking Cameroon. We're talking Cameroon.
Well, but Cameroon does not exist in the vacuum now. Senior barrister Cameroon.
No, at that time, there was a parliament in Cameroon, for goodness sake.
Okay.
Both in West Cameroon and East Cameroon, there was one. There were two parliaments. You went to which of them? When once the people have decided, because you know in Cameroon, changes can be brought. A constitutional change can be brought by the president, by two-thirds majority of assembly, or by a referendum. So once those things have been decided upon,
let me ask you a
nobody else touches it.
Let me ask you a follow-up. Are you saying that after the referendum, people were just supposed to go to their normal activities without an official documentation and the parliament approving that, okay, the people voted that we have passed this by law and as ratified?
What I'm saying is that
to make it legal.
There's no ratification. There's direct application. There's no ratification again. It is applied directly. That's why the president took upon himself to do what he did at that time.
Okay.
Because the referendum gave him those powers to do what the people have decided it should be like this. He just has to abide by it. Full stop.
Mr. Jarvis, I would want to say something. We need a constitutional judge or a constitutional lawyer who specializes on constitutionality of laws to say so. And I really believe in what Senior Barrister Ashu said, that after the referendum of 1961, it was supposed to pass through the 1972 was supposed to pass through the National Assembly for endorsement or for approval, which is a kind of ratification. So I want to come back to, you just said I escaped the question on hijacking and hijacking of initiative, and Senior Barrister Achu Julius of the CPDM said the always hijack, or I don't know.
No, that the welcome
initiatives that are
and encourage them.
Which are not anti-government.
No, that are of the interest of Cameroon.
Interest of Cameroon, pro people. I want to say something. That was in 2017. I think that was about the 31st of December. I met with the Social Democratic Movement chairperson around Bamenda. Do you remember that same year? The Social Democratic Front, SDF, he was supposed to go to Nigeria to offer food items to the refugees in Nigeria. The Bia's government connived with the Nigeria government to block the borders for him.
What?
Yes. Yes. That's gospel truth. That's the gospel truth. I want to. Was that not?
Is that CPDM?
Yes. That's the president of the Republic of Cameroon is the president of the CPDM. The national chairman. You cannot separate. Secondly, in 2019. When the CRM came up with the Cameroon Survivor Initiative, it was the CPDM government that fought that initiative, which was an initiative in favor that was to render help to Cameroonians fight COVID-19. Now we are still coming back.
What do you talk about?
Both of it has ended the same way the Cameroon government.
We will not talk about it. It surprises me that you, Mr. Tajevis, who is a journalist with
50% of
who enjoys all his mentality, his senses, you know exactly how the CPDM plays.
50% of that money.
No, but you are the person saying so, not me.
I am saying facts. We don't work on rumors. We are talking on facts. What I'm saying today, it's not
50%.
That's a lie from the pit of hell. That's a lie from the pit of hell. We are saying you attacked that the management of the management of the Civic Cameroon Survivor Initiative. Just like you did, you attacked he attacked the imam, he attacked the priest and the Catholic Church when the Catholic Church said they cannot fold their arms and watch people being killed in Northwest and Southwest region. That it's high time they pursue the government in place.
We don't know what the
call for
church has
ceasefire.
of that. I will not tell you.
Pastor Achu Julius was the person who attacked the Catholic Church.
No, we are not talking about that.
We are coming.
No, we are talking about Achu Julius was representing the people. He was representing the people.
Representing who? He was representing who?
No, he was
representing who?
Clients.
Which client?
The people
he single-handedly decided to attack the Catholic Church and the imams and other life. We are coming to context, like I said it. Any initiative in Cameroon that would I'm not personalizing. I'm not personalizing any issue in Cameroon, any initiative in Cameroon that is in the guise of pressing the CPDM regime in legalizing their cosmetic measures which they are using to solving the Anglophone crisis, they will run behind because they know that. You are telling me is that what the women have done?
Thank
you. It's left on the spectators. It's left on the spectators to observe and see if this initiative will produce any tangible fruit. I don't say that any initiative that is in the guise to legitimize, because if you have been supporting initiatives that are acting in favor of the people, there are other political parties that have initiated initiatives that are working for the people that the CBM has fought against it.
Thank you. Senior Barrister Ashu, maybe you want to react to what Barrister Ashu Emmanuel said?
This is Ashu.
Yes, you want to react to what Barrister Ashu Emmanuel said?
Well, I think what Semutaga said about the SDF representative wanted to help the refugees in Nigeria was correct. The government stopped the initiative.
But he said connive now.
I say it's correct in the sense that the government stopped the initiative. Whether they connive with Nigeria, I don't know that one. It was stopped. But again, for the survivor initiative, I remember that Pendai Kuka finally gave his material to the government.
Oh, thank you, sir.
He finally gave.
Thank you, sir.
So when you say, excuse me, sir.
The government refused.
I stand for the truth.
No, it's 10 now.
Okay, sir. I stand for the truth.
We don't have time.
Okay.
You said the government refused totally. I said no. Finally, he went to Ministry of Health and he was asked to take it to Ministry of Territorial Administration, which he did. So it was accepted.
No, we reached the Ministry of Territorial Administration and the minister decided to quit his office. He loved his office that day.
Yeah, good.
So was he accepted or not? Was he accepted?
They were accepted.
They were not accepted.
They were accepted.
They were not accepted. They were not accepted.
The end point is that they were accepted.
They were accepted. They were not accepted.
It was accepted.
They were not accepted.
It is acceptance.
It's acceptance.
The substance here is the acceptance.
It's acceptance.
No, they were not accepted.
Yeah, the first day when the goods came,
are you not using
the minister? Just to the ministry.
Yes.
He said no.
Cameroun is a state of law.
Us and tell us that we'll begin. Let's prepare ceremony.
What kind of ceremony?
What they said was,
I don't know whether the two of you are. Is this a gang up?
We stand for the truth, sir.
No, it's
not accepted.
No, it's
I stand for the truth.
3 persons here have said it was accepted.
I am in the house and I said it was not accepted. The house telling me it was accepted.
You're outside the house.
No, yeah.
SDLC was accepted.
Somebody wants to accept your gift. I don't know on what. Will not go. They refuse to accept the gift in front of the camera, and accept it.
It is our gift, not your gift.
What do you mean? Why do we accept from Dangote to be accepted by other individuals and refuse from the CRM?
It's okay.
The people accepted was the people give them accepted.
Same Samutaga. It's okay. Samutaga, Pastor Laman, Senior Barrister Achu, and Senior Barrister Ashu. Nobody's ganking up yet. I'm sure that they both have disagreed on several issues, and we must agree where we have to agree and disagree where we have to disagree. Your last word before we go way forward.
Well, like I said earlier, we thank the women for coming forth with this initiative. Somebody asked here who was organizing. I think it was organized by the Frederick Ashbeck Foundation. We thank them for that type of initiative. But my big question is, why would they accept that women should organize, but when men want to organize, they refuse? Because Cardinal Tumi, until he even died, was struggling to organize something for all Anglophones to come together. Why refuse? Now they're accepting the one for the women. I hope they will also accept if some other initiative comes from the men to bring together all Anglophones, because all those type of initiatives are good in the interest of peace. And I want to encourage the women, as I said, they should go in for something that can bring pressure to bear on this government. Let the government organize the peace effort, because we want this thing to come to an end. Let us sit on the table and write what went wrong so that there can be peace.
So was the Reform Party is going to join the women next time?
If we are invited, why not? Why not?
Yeah, even the SDF party, if is invited, will be there.
Okay.
Will be there. And,
before we go, your last word and word to the people of Kumba.
No, we thank the women. I think all of us want peace. Nobody detests peace. Want peace. For without peace, we cannot have any meaningful growth and development, prosperity and progress of our country. So we need peace. I think we thank the women for that. For my Kumba people, we thank Sonel now for at least we have gone for almost how many days to be light. We thank Sonel for that. At least we appreciate them, and my Kumba people just remain steadfast. SDF will bring meaningful change in the town.
Okay. Before we take leave of you, Senior Barrister Achu Emmanuel, your last word.
Julius.
Achu Julius.
I cannot take the place of my senior. He's my senior. So, from my own observation, I strongly feel those who took up arms for secession have dropped their arms, and those who are there now with guns are thieves and thugs. Because you see, I noticed that a good section of Cameroonians have moved to Nigeria who were in the armed struggle. There's this heavy population of guys who believe in this nonsense, and they try and always become and realize that at the end of the day there's something wrong about it, and they move to Nigeria and elsewhere. That even some of them, even in Douala here, we know them, and in Yaoundé, which means as they've dropped their arms, it means they had the intention. What they had at the very beginning was of good faith, only to realize that this thing is not good. Okay, our women have come out with an initiative. To me, I will encourage any peace initiative anywhere, anytime in Cameroon. And I will call on others to do same. I'm not a member of government to talk on behalf of the government, but I'm very certain that the government that we have, under the leadership of the Prime Minister, Chief Dr. John Gute, is going to take appropriate steps to ensure that the resolutions of this peace initiative be carried out to the best of his competence.
Okay.
And that's what we should appreciate, and that's what we should encourage, rather than constant fighting over issues which is of no importance.
Yeah, last word before we go briefly, we're out of time.
Yes, I wish to advise our brothers who carried arms and they are fighting the regular soldiers that war is not the best thing. And to the soldiers themselves, they are fighting their brothers. The regime in place, what I want them to understand is, no matter how long this war will go on, we shall finally sit at the table of dialogue. So it's needless wasting the taxpayers' money, fighting the taxpayers again. So let them release Ayuk Tabe, Mancho BBC, and the rest in the prison, and even the CRM militants who are in the prison, sit at the table of dialogue and talk the way forward for this nation. Okay. We love this nation. And for the women, whatever initiative that is to call for peace, we encourage it. Let them not allow the initiative to be hijacked and manipulated by the CPDM regime.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming, gentlemen. Thank you, Pastor Aman, for coming. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and of course this program will rebroadcast at exactly 10:30 today, Sunday. Monday it will be rebroadcast at 9:30, and the program comes up every Sunday at exactly 12 to 1:30. It will be on our YouTube channel. BT Media Group is our YouTube channel. BT Media Group. Our website, our Twitter handle is My Media Prime. Facebook My Media Prime. I leave you with this: no matter the matter, what matter is your matter. No matter the matter, what matter is your matter, and what should matter for you today is that nobody's hands are tied. They only becomes tied when we want to do the right thing in a way that we feel it will affect us negatively. My name is Tamai Jarvis from Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. Feng Gudrong Mbange Koto Bonamusadi. Bye-bye from this end.